Hello, guys. It's Jonathan, and today I want to talk about the four people that you need to forgive in your life. Recently, I read a really good book by Brian Tracy called Believe It to Achieve It. Yeah. It's a really good book that talks about not just goal setting, but the things that hold us back in our lives from becoming successful, not just with money, but in every area of our life. Because true success isn't just financial, it's having spiritual, physical, emotional freedom, having your health, having good mental health. That is true freedom. One of the things that holds us back from reaching our full potential in every area of our life is not forgiving the people from our past. And I believe that there's a lot of us that have been really hurt by people in the past. And, you know, we need to address that because if you don't forgive the people that have hurt you in the past, you're just going to carry so much weight. You're going to carry, so much pain deep down. Even if you look happy on the outside and you just push down that pain, it's going to show up in other areas of your life. It's going to show up in your relationships. It's going to show up at your workplace. It's going to show up, you know, in the form of anger, depression, anxiety. It's just causes so many problems. A lot of people that are angry, and I've had anger problems before, problems with depression too, and anxiety, and a lot of people do, and I believe a root cause of that, one of the root causes is all the people in our lives that we haven't forgiven and just all the negative things that has happened to us that we're still just hanging on to so tightly. So anyway, I want to go over the four people that you need to forgive in your life. I got this from Brian Tracy's book, Believe It to Achieve It. So the first one is your parents. And I think this one is so important. So many problems in life, so many behaviors that come up, negative behaviors, so many limiting beliefs goes back to our relationship with our parents, and it can be the cause of so many problems. And one of the ways that you can get right with your parents is to forgive them. And if you can forgive them, you can begin the process of healing that pain, you know, by forgiving them. By forgiving, you take full responsibility for your emotions. That even though it wasn't right, whatever your parents did, you're choosing to claim full responsibility for that rather than being a victim that just says, of course I'm depressed. A lot of people say this, and I'm guilty of this myself, is of course I have this limiting belief because of, one of my parents talking to me this way in my childhood. Of course I have low self esteem because of all the negative feedback that I got as a child from one of my parents. I hear this from so many people, and it's when you get to the point that there's a certain satisfaction with your ego of pointing the finger and blaming your parents, but the truth is your parents are human. And here's a first step to forgiving your parents. Realize that most likely, and I don't know, maybe your parents were horrible people. I don't know. I'm not here to assess your situation or make assumptions about yourself, but I think generally, I think most parents want to be the best parents that they can be. And I think oftentimes they they don't know any better. And there could be things that your parents did that hurt you, that were cruel, that that was the best that they knew how. And I know, like growing up, my father, I had a an awkward relationship with my father growing up, and I wasn't like beaten or anything like that, but I had some issues with my dad, and I always felt like growing up, like he didn't know how to be a father, and he didn't know how to be a loving father. But I think, thinking back to my dad's background and the way that he grew up, and just the fact that I don't think he ever read one paragraph in his whole life about how to parent, I think he really did the best that he could, the best that he knew how to, you know. And the same with both of my parents, you know. I think my mom did the best that she could too. And she, by the way, she put in a lot of work to study parenting and psychology. to be the best parent possible. So props to her for that. So yeah, just remember your parents are human beings, and I think a lot of times we might be very angry at our parents for doing certain cruel things, but the fact is that I've done cruel things too. Every human being on this planet has done cruel things, and just realizing that your parents are human. And yeah, just one thing that you can do if there's a lot of pain with one of your parents, a lot of unresolved conflict, is to either talk to them face to face, which is really hard to do, but it can free you of a lot of emotional turmoil. You can also write a letter to your parents and just say, not in an angry or aggressive way, because you don't want to do the opposite of what you're trying to do, which is to heal, and just say, you did this to me, you did this to me, but I forgive you and I love you. Doing that, there's people that have healed so much childhood pain just by writing their parents a letter. If one of your parents has passed away or both, write them a letter. Do the same thing. And yeah, that's one of the ways that you can forgive. Okay, moving on. Another one is relationships. Relationships can be ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, ex-husband, ex-wife, and I'm talking mainly about uh, romantic relationships. Another big source of pain, maybe not as much as your parents, but it's an ex spouse or an ex girlfriend or boyfriend. They can cause you a lot of pain. And I think, it's so easy to, after you've been in a toxic relationship, or not even toxic, maybe it was a good relationship, but it just wasn't the right fit. And it left you with a lot of pain. If you can, like with your parents, you may need to contact them one more time just to say that you forgive them, or even to tell them to ask for forgiveness, because you can experience guilt from things that you did in a relationship, maybe cheated or whatever. And just to, don't be afraid to ask for forgiveness, but don't be afraid to give forgiveness also. So it goes both ways. So you really want to heal from that pain from earlier relationships so that when you do find a better partner, a better fit for you, you're not projecting all of that pain from a past relationship onto them, because that's not really fair for them. Because you could find the right person, the perfect person for you, and you're just projecting the pain from a previous relationship onto them. It's not fair for them, and it's not fair for you, because you're not even giving yourself the chance to have a healthy relationship. Okay, next is yourself. Yourself. Listen, no matter how good of a, no matter who you are, no matter how good of a person that you think you are, or how bad of a person that you think you are, you have done things that were cruel. You have done things that were wrong. You have done stupid, senseless, spineless things. And I'm not trying to guilt trip you, because I've done the same as well. And every human being on this planet has committed sins. They have done things that were wrong. They've lied, cheated, or stealed, or all of the above. And it's just so important to have compassion for yourself. And if you struggle with shame and guilt, I want you to remember that everybody else is messed up too. Everybody else has made horrible mistakes and done cruel things. Even the people that you know of in your life, maybe a friend that you think, man, that person's perfect. I wish I was as good of a person as them. The truth is, they probably messed up as bad as you did or worse. Everybody, it sounds cliche, but we all make mistakes. We're all human beings. We're all flawed. And, or I should say, we all have our own flaws, because you're not the flaw, but you do, flaws is separate than who you are. And just have compassion for yourself. And Brian Tracy has this little thing, this little phrase that you say anytime you have feelings of low self esteem, you're being hard on yourself. And it's, I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. And as cheesy as that sounds, I can attest that this does make a big difference. It feels so good. So anytime you have a negative thought about yourself, you can swap that thought. with this phrase, and you can just catch yourself when you say that and say, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. And say it with enthusiasm, say it with energy. Don't say, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. No. Say it with a big smile on your face. Say, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. And you can actually make changes in your brain to where you actually start loving yourself more. Okay, so, and there's so much I could say about this, guys. I'm just kind of going over the gist of it, but forgiveness is kind of a big animal, and there's different methods of forgiving, and yeah, there's different ways that you can forgive that I want to go over in future videos. Anyway, and the fourth types of people that you need to forgive is everybody else. So we went over romantic relationships, we went over freaking your parents, and we went over yourself. So what's left? And that is everybody else. So there's people that have hurt you in your life that you weren't romantically involved with. It's not a parent, and it's not yourself. And those people, it can be ex coworkers, it could be childhood friends, it could be former friends, friends that you had a falling out with. It could be somebody that a friend that lied to you, that cheated with you, or just anybody else. It could be a boss that maybe years ago you had a boss that really hurt your feelings, and you've kind of buried it and forgotten about it, but you really haven't gotten over it 100%. But yeah, so there's everybody else, and those people too, just like your parents and past relationships, it affects you. And even as you're going about your daily life, you still have that pain within you. And negative reactions will come out in your relationships. It will affect your life if you don't resolve that. So, anyway, there's a lot of those are the four types of people to forgive. Now, there's different methods of um, forgiving. If you're a spiritual person, and I believe in God, I'm a spiritual person, is to pray to God, whether you're a Muslim, a Jew, or a Christian, whatever you are, you can pray to God and just say, God, please forgive me, and whoever it was, please forgive them that hurt me. And you can do that. And, Brian Tracy has this one thing that you do for everybody. This works for yourself, and it's a prayer that you do. And whenever an angry, because you can say that you forgive somebody, but what happens when you have a memory of them, when you play that memory, and it's like you press, or imagine like a red button that you press, and every time you press this red button, it triggers that that anger. So a memory, a painful memory of somebody where they just make you so mad, something that they did wrong to you, that button gets pressed, and then it triggers that anger. The memory or the feeling triggers the anger. Now, Brian Tracy says that what if you could rewire this little button machine? Stay with me, where you could actually rewire these buttons so there's a red button that you press that triggers the anger, and then there's a green button. The green button, you press the green button and it triggers good feelings about the person, or at least neutral. What if you could rewire your inner wiring system to where every time you press the red button, it actually automatically triggers the green button? So let me explain what I mean. With this method, every time that you think an angry negative thought about this person, it will trigger happy thoughts about the situations. Okay, enough talk. Here's how you do it. Whenever you think about the negative person, with the negative memory, anytime that memory pops up that triggers that anger, you say to yourself, God bless this person. I forgive them and I wish them well. Then you say amen. And what happens is your brain's like, what? Like, instead of being angry, like, this person mistreated me and like I'm blessing their life? What? So it actually changes the way that your brain thinks about this person. And you keep repeating this again and again and again. And whenever that negative memory pops up, you can get to the point where the negative memory actually triggers good feelings about the situation and actually having bliss and peace with that person. And if it comes up in the future, You can say, whenever I think of blank, I will forgive them, I will bless them, and I will wish them well. Amen. And that's programming your brain to actually have positive feelings about it. Now, if somebody hurts you really, really bad, you may need to do this thousands of times. But hey, you do it enough times, you're going to get to the point where when you think about a certain person from your past, you're just going to have peace about it. This method has helped so many people. And as a bonus, other things that you can do on top of that, and there's the Sedona method, and I can go over. I recommend checking out, googling the Sedona method. It's a letting go and forgiving process. And another thing that you can do is somebody that hurts you. You have a sheet of paper, and on the top you write down the person's name, and you write down what they did, and you just write down all the different things that you did. You allow yourself to feel the anger, and you write down all the things that you did. Now, you can either, and I want you to be safe with this, but you can burn that sheet of paper, or you could also, if you want to be safe, you live in an apartment and you can't start a fire, is to rip it up into little tiny bits of paper and then throw it in the trash. That can work also, or throw it in the dumpster. So all these methods have helped me so much in my life, and I probably have more letting go and forgiving to do in my own life. So, but these are practices that help me so much. Anyway, that's it for now. There's a lot that I can say about forgiveness, and it's something I really want to talk about on this channel because, as a health and wellness nut, I don't just want to talk about physical health and mental health, or just physical health on the channel. I want to talk about you can have a very, very healthy body, but you can still have emotional turmoil and be hanging on to these things. So, just as you nurture your body and you give it the best nutrition and you exercise, you want to nurture your mental health as well. And a big piece of that is forgiveness and letting go. I hope this helps you guys. It has helped me so much. If you enjoyed this video, hit a thumbs up and leave a comment below to let me know what you thought of this process, and let me know if it helps you, and don't forget to subscribe for some more awesome tactics and strategies for forgiving and just boosting overall mental health. And I will see you in the next video.